Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the channel as always. Today I am coming at you with the final Bridgestone review that I have. We've worked our way through all of them and it has been quite a ride. I appreciate you being there for it, but today we come to the golf ball that Tiger Woods uses. It's his preferred model. This is going to be the Bridgestone Tour B XS, which is basically for over 105 mile an hour swing speed, but also if you want a little more spin to your game. So when I tested this model of the golf ball, but for under 105, it was the best one I had tested so far. It had amazing spin, it really came off the club well, it had a phenomenal feel, and it was great around the greens. So I expect this one to at least be close to that. Now I do understand that this golf ball isn't meant for me, it's not meant for my swing speed, so there is going to have to be a little difference there. But I would like to see how it compares and how much I really lose, because those golf balls are supposed to be similar, so I can do a direct comparison to kind of show you, well, first of all, you know what the difference is, but also what playing the wrong golf ball could cost you in yards and distance and all those things. It'll be kind of a good social experiment there also. So let's dive in and let's see what we can find out. Okay, so real quick, I will touch on the design of the golf ball. If you haven't seen any of my other Bridgestone reviews, the gist is that it has a B there. This has the blue number. The blue represents spin. The red or maroon represents distance ball. And this one actually does say Tiger on the side. Now, not all of them do. You can get the Tiger Woods edition where he's on it and it says Tiger on the side. That's what this one is. And then on the other side, it has the alignment tool. Again, this one is a lot shorter than they are. I'm not a big fan of Bridgestone's alignment tools in the first place, and this one definitely doesn't do anything else for me. They've all been abysmal. Again, the dimple design is really good. It has a great feel to it. Bridgestone does a great job with the engineering. I would just like them to see them innovate the alignment tool a little more. Now let's go ahead and go out to the green, do some chipping and putting, and let's see what we can come up with. All right, so on the pitching and chipping green with the Tour B XS, which of course is the same golf ball Tiger Woods uses, and honestly, it performs very well. One thing I noticed about it immediately is how soft it is compared to some of the other golf balls I've tested, especially when it comes to the firm Tour line. I kind of told you with that last one, just the regular X model, about how the sponginess and the bouncing off the club was done, but I was wrong. I did not expect this golf ball to do that, but it did. It brought it right back, and it just feels so silky smooth coming off the putter and the wedge. It's so nice. Honestly, it still stops on a dime or pretty close to it. I think it's just a slight bit underneath the RXS, just because I think that golf ball is softer, but honestly, it really mimics it in a lot of ways, which is good. So phenomenal spin around the green, a phenomenal spin from 50 yards as well, and then getting into the putter, honestly, it just feels so smooth. It just glides off the putter without much effort. There's still a little bit of that sponginess that came back, and it does offer a good amount of feedback, but there's no click, which is really phenomenal. So I did not expect it to perform that well, being such a firm golf ball, and really, honestly, you've got to give Bridgestone some credit here. The experience around the green that they've created with every single one of their golf balls is really phenomenal, and it just wasn't expected from me. I think they've spent a lot of time and love there, and it really shows all the way through. So interesting. It didn't spin as much as the regular Tour B RXS did, which, you know, for the slower swing speed makes sense. But let's see how the actual numbers on full swings were. Let's start with the 9-iron. 9-iron, we're looking at 90.3, which is a little higher than just the X model. The X model was just so firm and unforgiving. This one I get a little bit more out of. 124.3, again, pretty abysmal. 117.4. That's on the lower side as well. And then 19.3, again, that's actually a lower launch angle than I got out of the X model, so that's kind of interesting there. But it did spin quite a bit, and I did lose a little bit of distance just because of how firm this golf ball is. It's not as firm as just the X model, but it definitely is still a little firmer. The Tour B RX, the under 105, was just so soft. It came off, had a little sponging effect to it. It was really soft and didn't have like a click at all, and this one's definitely firmer. You can tell it is softer than the X, but it's still definitely a firmer golf ball meant for really higher swing speeds. Getting into the 7-iron, you're looking at 6,354, which is a little weird because that actually is less spin than just the X got, which is kind of not really the way it's supposed to be. 105.3, so I did get just a little bit more ball mile per hour speed than with the X. 158 was the total distance, 146 was the carry, and then 17.9. It actually, again, launched lower than the X model. That's kind of weird. Usually your X models launch a lot lower, but this one actually, the softer golf ball launched lower. Really interesting there. You wouldn't normally expect that. Getting into the 5 hybrid, We are looking at 3.768 on the spin, which is fractionally higher than the X model. 115.9, 192.5, 177.7. Those numbers are actually, they're not bad, and this is actually the first time that it's not launched lower. It does launch a little higher than the X model, which is why I got a little more distance. So far out of all those numbers, those are actually kind of respectable for an average swinger, but really they're not even great. They're just still average, but at least they're respectable. Let's get into the driver. Let's see if there was any hope there at all for it. So 3,058 on the spin, so it did spin more on this model than the X model. And then 236.2, which actually I lost a little bit compared to the X model. 132.1 on your ball mile per hour speed. That's actually lower than the X model. 215.4, and then a 16-degree launch angle. That's actually a lot higher. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there. So as far as your higher lofted clubs, like your 9-iron, your 8-iron, it launches a lot lower. But with your lower lofted clubs, like your 5-iron or your 4-iron or hybrids, whatever, it launches higher, which is a little weird. I've never seen a golf ball do that, or at least to that degree. But overall, I didn't see much of a difference between numbers on the X version, which means this golf ball is very firm. It's meant for a very, very high swing speed, and if you're not swinging at 105 or higher, it would pretty much be useless to you. I did think that since it was a little softer, it would be a little more forgiving, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be right in line with that Tour X model, which is, if you're not one of the best players in the world, it probably isn't for you, and if you're not swinging really fast. And again, real quick, I'll just touch on the durability of the golf ball. Again, it was just fantastic. I actually had the most trouble out of all the Tour balls. This is the one I had the most trouble with the durability. There are scratches, there are scuffs. I can feel it in there. I can actually, I would probably give this one like a 3 out of 5, which is really weird because, again, I've had such great results with the other ones. It seems weird to me that out of all the Tour balls, the weirdest one and the most inconsistent one I've tested is the same one Tiger uses. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed this golf ball, if anything, would have been consistent, but I just didn't have that kind of result with it. It was kind of all over the place on its numbers, and its durability was the worst out of all 4 Tour balls I tested. So getting into the final thing, again, this golf ball isn't meant for me. I understand that. It's meant for the over 105 crowd. I get that. So if I had to recommend it to anybody, it would be really tough. Again, it comes in at a $49.99 price point, which is just very expensive for a dozen of golf balls, no matter who the case is for. You can get the Vice Pro Plus for $35 a dozen, and I feel it's going to perform just as well, if not better than this, and it would save you some money in the process. So really, unless you're a Bridgestone enthusiast and you swing really fast and you need more spin, that's just such a low market, and I really feel like, a lot of Bridgestone has been aimed at a very, very small, specific market. And that's probably why they're not at the highest of the sales charts every year. It could be something to do with that. But overall, guys, as always, keep watching to keep saving, keep learning. I appreciate it. Until next time.